We love bringing you the hottest trends in food. You know, the best restaurants, top-tier places, the cheap eats, the trucks, all of it. But one type of eatery that flies under the radar is the humble grocery store. And we're not talking about takeout Safeway sushi. We're talking about made-to-order, hot plate, eat 'em right there options. Today on CityCast Las Vegas, we ask contributor and daring food eater Brent Holmes to share his list of the best grocery stores to enjoy an actual sit-down meal, what to look for, and how to get the most out of a non-traditional foodie experience. It's Thursday, January 18th. I'm Dayvid Figler, and here's what Las Vegas is talking about. Brent Holmes, welcome back to CityCast Las Vegas.
Thanks, Dave. It's a pleasure to be here, as always.
All right, Brent, I want you to picture me sitting at a table that says, I don't think I want to eat a full meal inside a grocery store. Convince me I'm wrong. Go.
I got to convince you you're wrong about consuming a full meal inside of the place where you're going to get 90% of your food anyway, Dave. The food, by the way, that you take home, put in your fridge, let sit for like 2-3 days, wait till it spoils a little bit, and then go, oh, I forgot about this meat. Let me just throw it on the grill real quick, and maybe it won't poison me to death. It's freshest there. That's where you get the food. The food goes there first. It's handled by professionals. But beyond that, there are some really incredible culinary options at your local grocery center.
All right, you're close because you're hitting me with some good logic, and I appreciate that. But still, it's like, I don't know that it's the same exact food that I'm buying off the shelves. And how do I know that the person behind the shelf knows what they're doing?
I mean, Dave, do you know how to cook? Really be honest with yourself. Do you know what you're doing? Do you think
I know who to blame when it goes wrong? That's for sure.
And yet and still, and I think this is a really problematic thing in general, you're going to hit the drive-through where the 15-year-old that's in between like high school classes and trying to figure out how to like get enough like weed for the weekend to get high is going to make you a taco or something. And you're going to be like, this is fine. The adult human being that has worked in the grocery store and is behind the hot food counter, they might have their own problems too, but they're there. It's transparent. The kitchen is principally open. You can see everything going on, and the meat and the vegetables that they're using come straight out of the produce section and the butcher there on the premises.
Okay, so Brent, I'm going to stop you there. You've convinced me that I can take a chance in a grocery store. Also, unintentionally convinced me to stop going to Jack in the Box. So let us start by going through your list. Where are we going first to experience this in-store eating at a grocery place?
We're going to go down Mexico way first, and we're taking a little bit of a world tour here. We're going to go to Cardenas because they're my favorite. Now, Mariana's, no offense, y'all. Mariana's, I love you. I love your hot food counter. You're great. But I think Cardenas is a step above theirs. They have the fresh tortilla machine that they have every day, rotating in and out. So you can actually see the tortillas being made and then order those same tortillas that were made less than maybe an hour ago in store. And on Tuesdays, it is Taco Tuesday, which is kind of a can't miss for me. It's $1.25 per taco, which is a better price than you're going to even find at your most hood taco truck, like sitting in a tire shop parking lot. They're really good. They come in chicken, beef. They come in pork. They're solid. They're authentic. They're really great. And I always wash that down with a Fresca.
Okay. Now, there's a bunch of Cardenas across the valley. I see the sign all the time. Do you have one in particular that you want to kind of give that shout out to?
I would give the biggest shout out to the one on the 95 in Decatur, right over by the Meadows Mall. It's like a cathedral to Mexican food. The music's always pumping. The counter's really big. There's a lot of options. It's spacious. It's clean. It's well lit, and everything that comes off their plates is really, really quality.
Now, let me ask you this about the tacos. Are they kind of pre-made for you just to kind of pick them up, or you go up and you say, I want a taco, and they're going to make them from scratch, got
No,
their
they make them from
tortillas
scratch. I mean,
oh, wow.
they have the pre-prepared meat that you can kind of point to and say, hey, here's what I want. But
Got
beyond
it.
that, they press the tortilla. They add all the, garnishments, the onion, cilantro, salsa, what have you. And then they throw the meat in there and they roll it up. And again, like, you cannot beat 4 tacos for $5 on Tuesday.
Yeah.
That's untouchable price wise. And they're great. There's a couple of taco trucks and a couple of Mexican restaurants I would greatly prefer to them, but for the price and the location, and if you're already going grocery shopping, it's a win-win-win.
Okay. Now, where are we going to go next?
We're going to stay with our Latin American theme here, Dave, and we're going to go to El Super, which is basically the same kind of Mexican market to Cardenas, a couple of variations here and there in what they offer and how they stagger their pricing, but maybe a broader Latin American cuisine sensibility, at least the one up on Decatur, just down the street from the other one. So Decatur and Lake Mead region, you get this Cuban counter, mixed Mexican and Cuban. You get your tacos, but you can also get empanadas, you can get pupusas, and you can get one of my favorites, which is croquetas, which they sell for 75 cents a piece. And the croqueta, if you don't know, is kind of a shredded chicken with potatoes mashed together and then deep fried with a little breading. They're tiny. They're like almost fish stick size. And at 75 cents a piece, you're just kind of, you're going to pop them in your mouth and you're going to be happy in about 5 minutes. So,
and while you're doing that, you could sit down. There's a place to sit down there to eat it.
All of these places provide very small dining rooms. They're not lavish. It's not fancy. It's not really nice. I mean, if we're being honest, it's a step down from a Denny's. I mean, it's just an open plan cafeteria kind of thing. And there's nothing special about that, but you can also always get it to go. If you just want to take it home and be done, it's a lot easier than going into a restaurant, putting your order in, especially if you've still got to get a gallon of milk and some, laundry detergent. You just killed 2 birds with 1 stone there.
Yeah. I mean, going and getting your shopping done after your belly's full, that's probably good. You probably want to eat first, though, because you're never supposed to shop on an empty stomach.
Never shop for food or in a supermarket on an empty stomach. It's a bad idea.
Okay, Brent. And where next?
We're going to go over the sea to the Philippines, man. We're going to go to Seafood City. And if you haven't been to Seafood City, it's an amazing Filipino market, just incredible selection of a lot of food that you're never going to find anywhere else. And they have inside the Seafood City on Maryland Parkway, right down the street from Flamingo, is the Grill City. And Grill City is this amazing...
So there's a city inside a city inside a city
in the city,
with
yeah.
food.
Seafood City, Grill City. We're double citying here at City Cast. Start off with the Calamasi lime juice. If you've never had Calamasi lime juice, it's sweet, it's pungent, it's got a different vibe from most citrus drinks. It's going to be like a lemonade, but on roids. It is. It's like a beefed up lemonade. And then they have a fresh grill there where you can watch them grilling the meat right there at the counter. They do a whole grilled mackerel for like...
There's an indoor grill that they're just flipping meat on.
Yeah,
Wow.
they're flipping meat on the grill.
I mean, you're getting me there, Brent. I have not stepped foot in any of these grocery stores. I think maybe a Cardenas in the last 5 years once, but this is really intriguing. So you're in Grill City, in Seafood City, in that grocery store. And is it hard to figure out what it is that you want?
If you're inexperienced with Filipino food, it's going to be a different world for you, but I can 100% recommend just going in and getting the barbecue skewers. They do chicken and they do pork, and they're $5.99 a piece, a skewer. You get 2 of those, 3 of those, you're out $15 plus the Calamasi lime juice. You can get in and out for about $24. Yeah. If you want to go a little more authentic, a little more seafoody, because you're in Seafood City, I prefer the grilled mackerel to almost all the other fish they prepare.
Grilled
it's
mackerel.
Really great. Yeah, it's terrific.
That sounds great.
TIAA is on a mission. Why? Because 54% of Black Americans don't have enough savings to retire. So in collaboration with big-name artists like Wyclef Jean, TIAA released Paper Right, new music inspiring a new financial future. With 100% of streaming sales going to a nonprofit that teaches students how to invest. Stream Paper Right now and help close the gap.
Real quickly, would be the next two on your list? Without going into too much detail, I'm just curious, like what type of grocery store and where it might be located.
168 Market up on Spring Mountain is a Chinese market, and they have my favorite kind of Chinese food counter. Think Panda Express, but, not fake, not marketed through the American culinary machine. And the last one would be Ronnie's World Foods, Dave.
And what's Ronnie's World Foods? That sounds very inclusive.
It sounds inclusive, but in actuality, it is an Indian market, and they have an Indian deli there that just kills it every single time.
And where are they located?
They're up on Sahara, and if I can just do a shout out to the chana bhatura, which is a big piece of fried bread with some spicy chickpeas on the side, that thing is worth taking home every single time.
Okay. And what are our price points at these last couple places range-wise?
Well, you're going to be able to get in and out for a single person at Ronnie's for about $20. You get a mango lassi and the chani bhatura or another side dish. You can do it in around $20. And for 168, it's a real steal. They have the classic kind of Panda Express style counter where they give you the noodles and then a protein, and that's only $8, $7.99. Plus, they also have a dim sum that's much more authentic option. And then you're not going to find a piece of dim sum, which is like 3 or 4 dumplings or possibly chicken feet. I know, spooky. And that's going to be, no more than $5 a plate. And one more thing about Ronnie's World Foods, just to get into the minutia, they are a very specific kind of Northern Indian cuisine that is completely vegetarian. You can't find a stitch of meat in their deli counter. You can't find a stitch of meat in their market. And that's pretty special on a couple levels.
That's unique, yeah.
And also mango lassi's galore. And they've been doing that for years. They have multiple locations across the country. This is not just one Ronnie's. There's ones in Texas. There's ones in California.
Interesting. One thing I've noticed here, Brent, is that all the grocery stores that you've mentioned with restaurants inside them are ethnic grocery stores, with different cuisines from around the world. And why do you think that is?
I don't know. I think, Dave, there's a long conversation in here about immigrants and how they structure their culture within a culture and how they provide for the growth and expansion of that culture. And I think having home cooked meals or having hot meals provided, you're always going to find somebody that knows how to cook. I think places like Albertsons, Smith's, Dave, technically Whole Foods has restaurants inside of it.
Yeah, that's true. And I was thinking about that too. It just, A, doesn't seem to be a bargain. Let's just say that.
Not
and then
at all.
B, it does seem to be a little bit more pedestrian than the things you're talking about. But, that's maybe not. Whole Foods does have a variety of kinds of food that they'll deliver to you hot. And they do have a little area where you can go and kind of chow it down. I guess that's the same thing.
It's exactly the same thing, Dave. It's just, a lot more expensive and a lot more, yoga pants and Teslas in the parking lot, right?
We recently had a date night episode on CityCast Las Vegas. Like where are some interesting date nights for people to go out to, eat here in the Valley. And our producer, Sonia Cho Swanson, she recommended Ron's, which is an Armenian-Russian grocery store. And I was like, nah, I don't think that's going to impress anyone. But I wonder, what niche does grocery store dining fill? When would you go there and when maybe not?
I'll take a date to a grocery store dine-in. I'm a
First
family
date?
man. No, this is definitely second or third.
Okay.
You're not going to impress anybody by taking them to the grocery store hot plate counter and going, yeah, baby, I'll get you whatever you want. That's not going to work out that well, I think. Maybe if it does work out well, be aware, folks. That's the one. That's the one. You finally found them. That's it. That person
The
has
keeper
enough
litmus.
Yeah, that's a keeper right there. That person has enough wherewithal to know that a good deal and a good meal are of paramount importance in life. I think it's really appropriate when you're traveling with family. I'm a family man. I got plenty of kids. They're always crawling all over me, and you got to get groceries. And one of the best ways to settle them down and keep them quiet and keep them from trying to grab everything else in the stores. You roll up over at El Super, you grab them an empanada, you put it in their mouth, they're happy. You know, I've
Wow.
eaten with.
You're really opening up my eyes. And I was thinking about, is it that different than grabbing a hot dog at Costco?
No, it's exactly the same
not.
thing, Dave. It's
Yeah.
the exact
Yeah.
thing, but it's acceptable at Costco. Why? I don't know. Yeah, I think the world is full of fascinating culinary options, and the more we turn down because they're weird or different, the more we're losing out on life, not the other way around.
Yeah.
There's so many great. I mean, we're tip of the iceberg here. There's a couple of great Ethiopian stores have their little deli counters. There's the world food market that has another like Chinese restaurant inside of it. They're all over the valley. They're inexpensive in comparison to almost anywhere else you're going to go.
Yeah. And again, my mind is reeling because I've been in plenty of places that I would go to as a deli destination, and there are just rows and rows of food. And I'm thinking maybe I had it backwards. Maybe it's a grocery store that happens to have a deli in it, like Roma and a couple of other places that it's not uncommon at all.
I mean, I think it's interesting because like the biggest thing is these are immigrant cultures, and these are niche culinary providers in comparison to the larger ones. You can get a burger, a hot dog, a chicken sandwich almost anywhere in the United States driving your car down the street, right? Getting good dim sum, even in a city as wonderful as Las Vegas, can be trying.
Right. Well, of all the places that you mentioned, and I'm wondering if there might be like a common etiquette that people who want to give it a shot to go eat dinner or a sit-down meal at a grocery store should be aware of. So any sort of tips or etiquette that are in play here?
No, that's the wonderful part about it. I mean, try and speak the language. If you're at 186, don't get frustrated with the language barrier. Most of those people speak Chinese. They're not going to always get English perfect, but same thing with El Super or Cardenas, and even Ronnie's World Food. You're going somewhere that is of a culture for a culture and by that culture. So respect that culture. Beyond that, though, I mean, you can be halfway done with your shopping and your order's up and you just sit down, put your cart right next to you, pay for your meal, eat it, and then go check out at the grocery line. It's not a big deal.
I'm wondering, is it bad form to like grab your food and eat it while you're shopping? Like just be chomping down while you're going up and down the aisles?
I suppose you can. I think that's a little much personally. I mean, but again, like I have kids, so that's not unheard of for me. Maybe not me chomping down, but certainly the little one sitting in the cart going, noshing on something while we go through the aisles.
Yeah. And I guess the one truism of etiquette for all of Las Vegas, just because you're in a grocery store doesn't mean you're not supposed to tip.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Please leave a tip. There's still working people at a restaurant. So there's almost always a tip jar available. And I always make sure to put a couple of bucks in there or write it into the credit card receipt.
I got it. All right. Well, mission accomplished, man. Convincing badge unlocked. Brent Holmes, thank you so much for coming back and sharing this adventure for our listeners here on CityCast Las Vegas.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Dave, anytime, any place. No, a place. Meet me at Ronnie's. I will get you the chola bathura and it'll change your perspective on beans and fried bread.
And that's all for today here on CityCast Las Vegas. If you enjoyed the show, hey, go tell a friend, rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our morning newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Till then, stay lucky. Oh boy, CityCast Las Vegas, I gotta tell you, man, whoa!